Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Here we will build an email assistant using LangGraph and Grok. We will go through each cell of code, explain what it does, and then we will see the results. Okay, so the main goal will be to create an agent that can read emails, detect spam, categorize them, summarize them, and even draft replies automatically. Let's start with the setup. So here we are installing all the important libraries which we will be required in this session. Okay, here LangGraph is the main library we will use to build and visualize AI agents workflow. Then we have LangChain Grok. It lets us connect to the Grok API, which will act as the brain of our agent, similar to ChatGPT. Okay, and then we have PyDot and NetworkX. These are for creating and visualizing graph of our workflow. Okay, and this queue is just to hide unnecessary installation logs. All right, now let's move to the this one. Okay, importing basic utilities. Here OS helps us access environment variables like our API keys. Then this type dict and the rest are from the typing module, which we'll use later to define the structure of our email data. Okay, see, type dict is basically a special dictionary where you can specify what kind of values you expect. For example, list of strings or a list of summaries. Okay, and then we have user data. This lets us securely store and fetch private values like API keys in Collab. Okay, and then here we start bringing the LangGraph and LangChain tools. State graph is the central class we will use to design our agent's workflow as a graph. Okay, think of it like a flow chart where each box is a step and arrows connect them. Then start and ends are markers that tell LangGraph where the workflow begins and ends. Uh, then ChatGraph lets us talk to the Grok model. This is the language model that will process the text, detect spam, summarize, and generate replies. Okay, and then human message. This is a LangChain class used to represent a message written by a user or a human input. Okay, then this line is for displaying visual outputs like graphs or images. Okay, here we are saving our Grok API key into the system environment so the LangGraph tools can use it. If you are running this on Collab, make sure your key is stored uh, in Collab's user data. You can see here I have saved it as a Grok API key. You can either save it here or you can use it directly here. Or in case if you want to use OpenAI API key, that also you can use here. Okay, it is just that based on that you have to change this model. Okay, which is available in OpenAI. Here, let's initialize the LLM. Here, what we have done is that we have used OpenAI 20 billion parameter models, and then we have saved temperature as a 0. Okay, so here if you see, this temperature is nothing but it is used to give the randomness to this model. Okay, the lower the value of temperature, the lesser will be the randomness. Okay, typically what we suggest is that when you need more creativity, it's better to go with the higher value of temperature. Okay, and for lesser creativity, you can go with the smaller value of temperature. Okay, let's run it. Yeah, let's see whether everything is fine or not. Let's invoke. Okay, and then okay, let's start with what is an AI agent. What is an AI agent? If you run this, I mean, you will get so many outputs. Okay, so to but we what we want is we want only the content part. So typically you should, if you do not want a redundant things, no, I mean, I won't say redundant, I mean extra things, you can directly write a content, so you will get the main content, but it's still too long. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll just write, give me short and crisp reply. Let's see what we get here. So if I type this, I get a message like this. Okay, an AI agent is a software entity that perceives its environment, process that information, and takes action to achieve specified goals or objectives. This is better. So yeah, now we have seen that everything is working fine. Now let's see the high level workflow of our AI agent. So what our AI agent will do is that in the first node it will read the emails, then it will detect whether they are spammed or not spammed. If it's spammed, it will skip everything. Then if it is not spammed, it will classify the urgency, whether it's a very urgent mail, or normal mail. Then it will summarize the content and draft the replies accordingly. Okay, and then in another node it will review them and send the reply mail. Okay, so to do this, let's create a class email state. Okay, so we will write email state, then yeah, it will be a type dict. We are getting auto suggestions, let's use them. Okay, so we have emails just to save email, then we have spam flags, then we have categories. All right, then yeah, categories, then summaries, and after summaries, okay, we would need first replies here. Okay, which is missing here. Okay, no worries, we will write it. Replies. Okay, and yeah, we are done. So here, if you see, we have a class called email state, which belongs to type dict. That means it's basically a dictionary with fixed keys, and for each key, we can define the what type of value it holds. Here, email will hold the email text that we want our assistant to process. For example, if we give it three sample emails, for example, if we give it three sample emails, all of them will be stored here. Okay, and then we have spam flags. So this will store the spam status for each email. Our spam detection node will analyze each email and mark it either spam or not spam. Each result will be saved here in the same order as the emails, right? And then we have categories. So once the system knows an email is in the spam, then it will try to categorize it based on the urgency, whether it's a very urgent or normal. Okay, that will be stored here into these categories. Then we have summary. So see, this field will store the summarized content of each email. So the assistant will use those grok model to create short summaries so user can quickly understand what each email is about. Then we have replies. So here we will store the AI generated replies for each email. Okay, later after this we will build a node that creates a suggested reply, okay, based on the summary and categories. Okay, and this is the final human reviewed replies. So think of it like the AI draft the reply first and then the user can edit or confirm it. So the final version after review is stored here. Okay, so this emails, yeah, so we can say that this email state class defines what kind of information our assistant will pass from one node to the next. Each node will read some of these fields, process them, and add new information as the workflow progress. For example, the first node fills in spam flags, then next node will fill in categories, then next one writes into summaries, and so on. So yeah, so by the end of we will have a complete record of how each email was processed. All right. So we will in the next session we will talk about we will create those nodes and we will see some sample emails and see what kind of reply we get. Okay. Thank you everyone.